Yes, Bill.
Where does sand fit on your hardness scale?
Sand is mostly quartz. Yeah, quartz 7 to 8.
Have you ran across any evidence of these vessels anywhere else in the world besides the Valley?
Stone vessels do exist in other parts of the Near East and Greece and in the Mediterranean.
Of this hardness, though?
I don't know. I'd have to check. Well, driving over here, I thought about that.
So sand could be used as a cutting tool, basically.
It could be used as an abrasive. Well, what is it backing up against?
Well, yeah, but to drill the whole limb.
Okay, so what you're talking about is a copper tube drill?
Well, I was thinking more of a stone tube, a stone shaft drill that you then put sand around and you.
How do you make the stone shaft? I'm not being, troublesome. It's just that.
Well, you can chip that. I mean, that doesn't have to be finely done.
Kind of like a coating of sand.
Yeah, and then you put sand in there and the sand does it, the sand abrades the hole.
I suppose that's possible. Mark Lehner tried to do that on a piece of granite at Giza. He had a copper tube and a bow to spin it. And they were feeding in water with sand. And after half a day, they went about 2-3 inches down into it, and they actually broke out the core. But the production of the core was not the same as the stuff that Petrie found at Giza. That's in the Ashmolean Museum. It's possible. How much time do you have, Bill? I'm not being a wise ass.
Well, I don't have that much left, but when I was 20, I had 60 years ahead of me. So,
Yeah, it's negotiable, isn't it? Yeah.
I have seen other evidence that seems similar to this with stone vessels with seemingly less qualified writings on them, I suppose. They found pretty large like stone pillars that are just like one solid piece, and they had fallen over, and then like First Dynasty people carved onto that, and it was kind of clear that that was there for a very long time before they utilized it, and it was a harder stone column to begin with.
Yeah.
There seems to be quite a bit of evidence.
There's a lot of stuff out there. I wanted to keep myself just to the vessels.
Yeah.
Because you can hold them easily, you can measure them easily, you can sort of examine and take a good look at them. And a vessel about the size of this in height is what that red granite vessel is that they measured. And it's small, it's relatively utilitarian looking, it's not very special by any stretch, but apparently there's a lot of them.
I've seen them in London, Paris, New York,
Oh yeah,
obviously Egypt, they're everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did they make them? That's what I'm asking. How do they make them?
to me, the outside is the more of a puzzle than the inside.
Especially based on what you showed, yeah.
Because how do you get those ears on there? I mean, even if you have a spinning wheel, how do you get those ears on there?
Yeah.
That is a problem, isn't it?
And how do you get the smoothness between the ears?
That is a problem. It is a.
Well, come on, we came here for an answer.
I'm not a Bill. You're the engineer. I'm just the humanist. I'm just talking about this stuff. It drives me crazy, to be honest. I've been wondering, are they coming from the Nakata tombs? Well, they're in Nakata tombs, these hard stone vessels. So there's a
like Nakata tombs that are clearly never been disturbed have these.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
I mean, I've seen the plaques in the museums that say Nakata culture, and then they have those, but That's as far as I knew.
Okay, here's your, Josh, here's your pre-dynastic sites. Nakata had 36 examples of hard stone vessels. And of course, the rest. And where did they get it from? It leads me to suspect one of two things. Either they're plundering them themselves, and then they're either swapped or sold or whatever, like heirlooms, perhaps for a tidy price, because, this is like, Aunt Harriet's fine china. Or they're traded. They're coming in from the outside. This goes back to your question, Josh, about, well, where else were these, perhaps, is there some analog that we can point to? That I don't know. I'll tell you this, Petrie was totally confounded. He had no idea where they were from. His best guess was someplace from the Sahara. So that means something's in the Sahara. Yes.
Are there any examples of soft stone vessels that could have been, they learned the technology on soft stone first and then transferred it to hard stone?
Well, all of these hard stone locations, for instance, here, are accompanied side by side with soft stone stuff. So someone's creating this hard stone stuff. Some folks think that the soft stone vessels are actually post Third Dynasty. They're working with something softer that they can manage, and they're trying to imitate the hard stone stuff.
Which is odd. That seems backwards.
Oh, totally backwards. Totally backwards.
I'm wondering particularly the second and third dynasties, also the first, Abydos seems to come way up to the front. Were those found in the pre-dynastic and early dynastic tombs at Abydos? Have any been found as offerings at Omagab, where the soft pottery is just all the ceramics are all over the ground, which is why tourists aren't allowed out there anymore. Where in Abydos and where in Nakata were those found? The stone vessels.
All the hard stone vessels that I described here and I have on the charts are from Dr. El Cooley's dissertation, and they're all with good provenance, meaning they were excavated from tombs, which means that the people thought they were nice enough to be buried with them.
Is there any way to trace those back perhaps to the Tigris Delta or the Mesopotamian area of the Near East?
Well, as you well know, Mesopotamia is very scarce in stone. Most of their stuff is clay. Crete, of course, is much later than this. Nakata is dated someplace between 44 and 3000 BC. So we're sort of up against that as well. I just don't know where this stuff is coming from.
Worldwide, what are the earliest dates for stone lathes and potter's wheels?
Potter's wheels are definitely earlier in the Mesopotamian area, leaking into the Levantine area. The potter's wheel came from the Near East into Egypt. I mean, that's where they came from, through the Levantine area. So that's where they were there. But stone lathes, I have no clue.
Bill,
Yes, sir.
comment that it seems reasonable that the stone vessels would disappear once the potter's wheel was in, because for the most part, if you want a serviceable vessel and you can get it from pottery, you don't have to spend the time and effort or trade for the stone vessels, then that's what happens.
That seems reasonable to me. These hard stone vessels are incredibly durable, given the fact that they're still around. So I have to agree with you, because if you really think about it, what do we have for containers? Some sort of leather bag, some sort of woven basket, maybe an ostrich shell with a woven surface, so you have yourself a canteen. And then you have pottery, and then you have a stone vessel. So it makes me wonder, well, what in God's name are they putting in these stone vessels? And where's their lids? I'm asking more questions of the audience instead of them asking me questions. That's not fair.
We don't have any answers.
The harder minerals that you mentioned do have some isotopic distribution. Was there any predominant source for things like corundum? That's incredibly rare even by today's standards. I was just curious if they had a significant source for it and some of the near misses in terms of hardness.
All of these are, with the exception of maybe jasper, all of these are found in Egypt. Where, I can't tell you.
Yeah, well, that was my curiosity, because Egypt is a big place and there are comparatively few known sources for things like that, even outside of Egypt. And I know the geologists would be very much interested in any insights that the archaeologists could provide.
Well, any sort of assistance would be greatly appreciated.
I will point out that if you sieve materials from water sources like the Nile, you can always find some harder materials. You don't have to rely on sand as such. There are harder materials around. In fact, carborundum might even occur. So there is the possibility that some of these harder materials could have been used for drilling out and for shaping.
Well, that has to be the case, because in the Egyptian Museum, there are some matrices of corundum and quartz. I can't think of a worse possible combination, but they're gorgeous materials, gorgeous works of art that come out of it.
I didn't see any close-up photos, but I know I've seen some where you can actually see inside, like almost drill marks going up the inside of the vessel. So that to be a lathe or something.
There is something going on, and we don't have the evidence of these tools at all. So there's a technological gap, to be honest with you. And just thought
Tool
I
markings
just thought
are helpful, but you have to know what kind of tool made the tool markings.
well, okay, maybe it was an industrial laser. I have no idea. But I don't know what it is, except that the things that I know about, which are lathes and drills, and anything beyond that, I have to go to an engineer. And Bill Petty is not forthcoming.
I'm an expert on ancient Egyptian electricity.
Well, thank you people for at least listening to me.